Hemant Soren stepped down as the Chief Minister of Jharkhand yesterday, and he made way for his cabinet colleague Champai Soren to lead government. JMM is now waiting for an invitation from the governor so that they can form the government. At the same time, what does it mean for Hemant Soren, who has been arrested by the ED? To answer all these questions, we have with us our political editor DK Singh and my colleague Ananya Bhardwaj, who reports on security agencies. Well, Ananya, to begin with, what exactly is this case about and what does it mean for Hemant Soren, who has been arrested by ED?
So, Neelam, it's a complex case because it involves a lot of financial transactions, many parties. To put it simply, the case is about the nexus of businessmen, power brokers, government officials who are allegedly trying to usurp land parcels in Ranchi, and these are big land parcels, by basically creating fake sale deeds by forging records. Right. Now what ED is saying is that this mafia has been going on in Ranchi for a long time and this nexus has been operating for a long time. But where Soren comes into the picture is that he is a key beneficiary of these land transactions that have been happening in Ranchi. Now ED says that they have identified over 27 such land parcels where where they have found that these land parcels were transferred first by using these fake sale deeds in the name of a particular businessman through a power broker and then allegedly sold to other parties. And in these transactions, everybody has been making money, in which Soren is also one of the key beneficiaries. Now, the two land parcels that ED was essentially focusing on in this particular case where Soren was questioned multiple times are two land parcels. One is like a 4.5 acre land and one is a 7.6 acre land. So I'll just break these two. First, I'll tell you about the 4.5 acre land. So in this 4.5 acre land, the allegation is that this particular land was actually a defense land. And one person who is a businessman, Pradeep Bagchi, it was transferred to him, and the land deed under which the land was named after Pradeep Bagchi was a fake land deed, and it was created using forged documents. And ED has claimed that government officials, including the district commissioner, was involved in this entire process. So after this land parcel was transferred to Pradeep Bagchi, he further sold it to this businessman called Amit Agarwal, who is said to be a close associate of Mr. Soren. Now the ED has also alleged that Amit Agarwal is also a businessman who's very well connected and allegedly deals with all the tainted money of politicians. So he is the one who is the owner of this particular land now, according to this transaction that happened, which ED is saying is illegal because this land actually belongs to someone else. Now, interestingly, there's another claimant of this land, one Mr. Karnad, who is saying that this land belongs to me. So interestingly, there is another person who has resurfaced in this entire thing, who is saying that this particular 4.5 acre land is my land, and he has sold it further to 16 more people. So this one particular land has different claimants. So that is what ED is saying, that this is a mafia that is operating, in which what they are doing is identifying different land parcels, big land parcels in Ranchi, and then by using forged documents, they are creating fake sale deeds and putting basically, giving it to one particular person, say a businessman, who are then selling it off at a much lower rate than the market price. So this 4.5 acre land apparently was sold for about 25 lakhs, but the market rate of this property is 41 crores. Another land parcel which Soren was questioned about is in Halel, which is 7.6 acre property. And in this also, the fake sale deed was prepared by brokers, and the original deed was apparently allegedly torn and removed from the original register records of the district sub-registrar. So the allegation is that DC Chavi Ranjan, who was also arrested in this case, cancelled the record of rights of the original owner, and this land was then allowed. It was allowed to mutate into this land, which then belongs to this person called Binod Singh. Basically, it was transferred. It was allowed to be mutated to Binod Singh, who then sold it further to two more people. And in this entire transaction, Hemant Soren was a key beneficiary. So although ED has not named Soren in the charge sheet that was filed last year in June, or the first information report that was filed, but then during investigation they are saying that when we looked into all these aspects and all these transactions, we found that he was one of the key beneficiaries in all these transactions that were happening in this land mafia, which has government officials, which has power brokers, which has businessmen, and this guy also, Mr. Soren, was also a part of this entire nexus.
Well, a lot of opposition leaders have been talking about, the timing is a suspect, especially not only Hemant Soren, but even Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has also been summoned by ED. So, how do you, look at this?
Of course, the timing is questionable, and we all saw what happened yesterday. How ED was chasing Hemant Soren, and how he then went back to Ranchi and then finally agreed to become a part of the investigation. But what ED has been saying is that they have been following due process, since they had summoned Soren quite a few times. 7 to 8 summons were given to him, but he did not join the investigation, and each time he sent a letter to ED saying that this entire investigation is motivated, and it's nothing but political, so they don't have anything against me. But when he joined the investigation of late, he told ED, in fact he released a statement later saying that ED does not have any evidence against him, and all these transactions that ED is asking him about, or any land parcels, are completely bogus and motivated, and they actually don't have any evidence. However, ED on the other side has been claiming that they have enough sufficient evidence to arrest Soren, and that is why, after questioning him for over 7 hours yesterday at his Ranchi residence, he was finally told that he is being arrested, and he was taken into custody.
Ananya, does the ED have enough evidence to establish a financial trail which would actually establish the allegation that Soren is the beneficiary of these deals?
So ED has been saying that the proceeds of crime would mean that the money that the kickbacks that were given to Soren were then used to buy more properties and put into several companies that are being run by his wife Kalpana Soren. However, Soren has maintained that all that money that went into the 2 companies that are run by Kalpana Soren is all legitimate money, and he in fact also said that he has given all the documents to ED that establishes that whatever money is coming to the company is all legitimate. So, however, ED has been saying that because there was money also recovered from his home during the raids, that there is a lot of unaccounted cash, and there are other transactions, the details of which they have not divulged as of now, in which they know, they are certain that all those kickbacks were received by Soren, if not directly, also indirectly to his family members. So this is all they are probing right now, but it will become clear in a couple of hours, because right now he'll be produced in the court, because he was arrested late last night. He will be produced in the court, and the agency, whenever they arrest any person, has to give the grounds of arrest, because ED, whenever they arrest a person, they have to give grounds of arrest, and they have to tell the magistrate as well that why they need Soren for questioning for police custody. So it remains to be seen as to what they tell the court, but they will be giving grounds of arrest, and briefly also tell the court as to what they have against Soren, that his arrest was required at this moment.
Right. DK sir, I have asked Ananya this question about timing being a suspect, but politically, how do you see it, considering the India Alliance has also been talking about it, especially the Congress has been raising this issue, and I just mentioned Arvind Kejriwal, who has so far not responded to the ED summons.
Just to stay focused on the political part of it, let's assume that the ED is going through the due process of law, and there is no politics involved, and ED is completely non-political, of course. As for the timing, if the BJP has been going after Hemant Soren for the last 2.5 years. Remember that Office of Profit case, and it was an open and shut case where Hemant Soren also admitted in the court that he as somebody with the mining and forest portfolio had allotted a mining lease for himself. He called it a mistake in the court, actually gave it back. So it was an established thing. The governor had sought the opinion of the election commission. Election commission had given the report to the governor, then Governor Ramesh Bias. It was, I think, way back in August 2022. And after that, Bias kept telling us, declaring in public, in fact, that there will be a bomb that will explode in Ranchi sooner than later, basically hinting what the EC had given the report, because that report was never made public. As we were given to understand that the EC had agreed that okay, it was a fit case of office of profit and Hemant Soren could be disqualified. But then the governor kept sitting on it, no action was taken. It has been 17-18 months, we have a new governor. The report has never been made public and no action has been taken on that report. So, that tells you for how long it has been going on. Now, coming to the timing, right before the election, the chief minister getting arrested, it does affect your poll preparations, and JMM for the BJP, the main opposition is JMM in Jharkhand. In the last election, BJP and its ally also won 12 out of 14 seats, then one went to JMM and another to Congress. This time again Congress is more weakened, BJP in total control, and as I am given to understand, this Ayodhya Ram temple is resonating big time. I have been talking to people in Jharkhand for the last couple of days just to understand the kind of impact Ram temple is making. I was just trying to get a sense of, if the ED were to arrest Soren, what would be the impact? That was before his arrest, and I was told that this Ayodhya Ram temple was resonating all across, very strongly. So, of course, Soren would be hoping for sympathy vote. On the other side, BJP looks pretty confident that that sympathy wave will not be generated, because it has a bigger wave working for it. So, politically how it works for Soren, we do not know. Where it helps the BJP again is, Hemant Soren, he has been telling us for a long time that he needed to reinvent his party, because the party was for a movement, it came out of a movement. Once that movement was over, once Jharkhand came into being as a full-fledged state, the JMM's raise no deaths, what you call the reason for existing, was gone. So, it had to reinvent itself, which was not happening, and that was what he was trying to do. The another plank he was working on was, JMM is not essentially a tribal party, or it was not when it was founded. It was a tribal OBC party. You had many big leaders, Shailen Mahto and others, many Kurmi leaders who were right on top. So, it was working on tribals and OBCs, but over a period of time it became a tribal party. Now, just as a tribal party, you cannot go for long in Jharkhand, because Jharkhand just has about 26.3% tribal population. If you become just a tribal party, you may always be a small political outfit and get reduced into a pressure group sooner than later. So, Hemant Soren was trying to change all of that. Now, all that momentum is gone, and right before the Lok Sabha election, yes, it will be a big setback for the JMM. But of course, for the BJP, it will be sending signals to many others across the country. You have many chief ministers from Revant Reddy to talk about former chief minister Bhupendra Hooda, you have Akhilesh Yadav. I mean, so many top leaders are facing these probes. I have not even spoken about Arvind Kejriwal, who is actually defying the ED summons. Kind of impact it will have on them, and how it will affect them politically, or how it will make them recalibrate their political decisions, that we have to say.
Well, we've got a lot of questions from our viewers also. So, I would like to start with Harsh, who wants to know that, this move by the BJP, will it not hurt this tribal outreach in India, arresting a sitting chief minister of tribal community, will it not alienate them towards the BJP, especially before the election?
After 2019 assembly elections, where three states went to polls, we had Maharashtra, Jharkhand and Haryana, Prime Minister Modi had made an experiment, like go for the non-dominant community leaders. So, you got Devendra Fadnavis, Brahmin in Maharashtra, not a Maratha. You got a Khatri in Haryana, not a Jat, and you got a non-tribal in Raghuvar Das in Jharkhand. That experiment was there, but over the next 5 years, when the elections happened, the BJP lost. That experiment didn't really work, and that's how we saw how a few months back BJP brought Babulal Marandi, a tribal, back as the state BJP chief. So, it is working on tribal voters also. That is one. Secondly, the kind of impact we are talking about of the Ayodhya movement, BJP looks very confident that that sympathy, a so-called sympathy or possibility of that sympathy wave is not there. And then you have a tribal president of India. Many schemes have been announced. Even today, Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, has talked about PM Jan Man, the scheme meant for tribals, where there will be 11 interventions across 9 ministries, right from drinking water to housing. So, there has been a massive outreach from the Prime Minister himself, from the BJP towards the tribal community. So, I think they can manage it. In Jharkhand, maybe there will be alienation of tribal voters, but they have got a new tribal BJP chief, and they look confident that they will be able to contain it.
And Vijay wants to know that, he's saying his dad, Hemant Soren's dad, also went hiding when he was in cabinet minister during the Congress rule. So, could you explain and shed a little light on that?
Yeah, that was way back in 2004. Hemant Soren was the coal minister in Manmohan Singh government. And there is this old case, about 30 years old case, killing of about 10-11 people during the Jharkhand movement way back in 1975. That case was revived and then arrest warrant was issued against Shibu Soren. He went into hiding for about 10 days, and when he appeared, he said, I was, and he sent his resignation while being in hiding, resignation from Manmohan Singh cabinet. After that, he surfaced and he said actually he was traveling around in villages to meet villagers. He was not hiding as such. Anyway, later on he surrendered in the court and the rest followed.
And Karthik wants to know, why is the footprint of Congress so little in Jharkhand? It is in alliance with JMM, it is in the government there, but why have they not been able to grow?
Look at the larger picture. See, it is not about Jharkhand. Jharkhand came into being in 2000. So, what you saw happening with the Congress in Bihar or UP after that Mandal movement, Mandal plus, as you said, Kamandal and Ram Mandir plus Mandal Commission report. So, the way the Congress lost its footprints in these states, Jharkhand was part of Bihar. The same thing was happening in Jharkhand also. Congress lost in Bihar like the united Bihar. Same thing happened in Jharkhand. Jharkhand was just part of it. And what has happened in Bihar or UP happened in Jharkhand also, because Congress kept losing its footprint. It tried to basically hang on to the coattails of some regional parties, say RJD or SP here and there. In Jharkhand again to JMM. It was always seeking alliance with JMM, trying to be in power somehow. Even now, it is part of the government. But in the process, it kept losing its vote bank, and there was no leadership, new leadership developed. If you talk about Jharkhand Congress leaders, who do you remember? Subodh Kant Sahai. That is about it, and he is also a spent force now almost. So, who is the leader? Who is the face of the Congress in Jharkhand?
Right. And Sankalp wants to know, Jharkhand, he says, is a mineral rich, yet among India's most backward and he says highly corrupt states. He said it's also unkind to sitting CMs and so-called heavyweights, which the electorate have regularly defeated. So, he's asking, do you think BJP is counting on this historical trend to prevent a sympathy wave and rather use it as a platform for creating more fodder for Babulal Marandi's anti-corruption campaign?
Well, BJP of course will focus on this anti-corruption campaign, but the fact is, does it really matter in Jharkhand? If you look at JMM's history, way back in 93 when there was this no trust motion against Narasimha Rao government, and JMM people had taken bribe. They got scot free because they had done it in parliament, and so no action could be taken against them as per the Supreme Court. But they had taken bribe to vote for the Narasimha Rao government, and if you recall, they had deposited money in a bank here in Delhi. Then I remember one of those days later, there was this Jharkhand paper Prabhat Khabar, it still is. Yes, it's still, yeah. It published receipts given by Madhu Koda, who was the minister then, receipts of bribe. You take money and then give receipt, and then it gets published in papers. Then we heard what JMM MPs did during the trust motion in 2008. So, these bribery charges have been there, but that did not really hurt JMM that much if you look at their vote share. Of course, they are not the most dominant party there, but it did not really hurt them. But if why just about JMM? You talk about Jayalalitha in Tamil Nadu, it did not hurt her. You talk about Yadurappa in Karnataka, he remains a big leader, his popularity base, mass base remains intact. So, corruption, how much does this corruption plank hurt a party or a leader? In contemporary politics, I am not very sure.
Well, one last question for you. Stephen wants to know, isn't JMM facing a huge anti-incumbency itself, apart from whatever else is happening?
Well, sitting here, I won't really be able to answer that question. But yes, as I have spoken to people in Jharkhand, and they are saying, he has not done very badly, and he has not done extremely well either. So, anti-incumbency, of course, if you spend 5 years, there will be anti-incumbency. But again, his tribal vote bank has remained intact with him. What happens in coming weeks leading to the Lok Sabha election? In Lok Sabha election, I am sure BJP has a huge advantage. BJP will sweep, given the kind of impact the Ram temple in Ayodhya is having there, and of course the Modi wave. Last time also they had won, they and BJP its ally had won 12 out of 14 Lok Sabha seats. So in the Lok Sabha they won't have the impact will almost be negligible. But in assembly elections we have to see, because look, unlike other states, so in UP for instance, you have every region has a character, Eastern UP, Western UP, in every state you have these regions who have a specific characters. Here in Jharkhand, things change in every constituency. You go from one constituency to another, the entire demographic profile changes. So it is not that there will be a big wave or some sweep of any party, and that is why the BJP is also finding it difficult to retain the base it had when it was in power. So every party has to struggle and fight. So let us see how this thing basically unfolds there.
I'll end with this question for you, Ananya. How long will Soren stay in custody, and at the same time, what does it mean for Arvind Kejriwal, who has been so far, ignoring the summons?
Well, I'm sure Soren must be watching Manish Sisodia's court proceedings anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sure Arvind Kejriwal doesn't want to go down the Soren road. But like I said, that it depends. He'll be produced in the court today, and then it depends. It is the court's prerogative to say that how many days custody he'll be given to ED. Will be given to ED. So ED will be giving the court the grounds of arrest and why they and what are the reasons as to what they want to question Soren on, and we still don't know how many days he'll be in custody, and that's for the court to decide. So let's see how this pans out. We're still waiting for the court to say how many days custody, and the investigation will go on in the case.
While we record this conversation, I mean, what I am more curious about is what the governor has in mind. I mean, Governor C.P. Radhakrishnan, it has been 14-15 hours since he got a letter of support from 47 MLAs. Now, in a house of 81, somebody has got the support of 47 MLAs
and still not being
and still is not being invited to form the government. What's happening?
Yeah, so we got to know that the MLAs themselves are planning to go again. They had gone there yesterday, and now, around 1:32, they were planning to go again to sort of, meet the governor. But so far, no invitation, no formal invitation has come from the governor.
Also, with this arrest, the trouble doesn't end for Soren, because there's also another case, illegal mining, in which he has not been questioned yet, but apparently ED has said that there is involvement of Soren having received kickbacks in that case as well. So although he has not been questioned in it, so it's going to be tough.
Thing is, you have to give it to him. Hemant Soren has played very smartly this time. He saw that arrest coming.
Yes.
It was imminent.
He went back, sat with his MLAs, got them to sign the letters of support. He declared his, so there was this dispute in the family. The first time, first day when the MLAs met him, there were two pieces of signatures of MLAs on 2 letters, one for Kalpana Soren, his wife, another for Champai Soren. And because there was a dispute within the family, Sita Soren, sister-in-law, like Shibu Soren's elder son's widow, she has been a 2-3 term MLA. Now, she declared very openly that I would not have Kalpana as the CM, and without Hemant Soren, these things could have become very tricky, and then the BJP could have found some way into this entire thing. So he ensured that there was a successor in place before he was trustworthy. He has been Champai Soren has been with Shibu Soren since, for decades. They were together in the Jharkhand movement. So he has ensured his succession plan before getting arrested. That was a smart thing to do.
He also went to the Raj Bhavan with the ED officials along with him.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sure our viewers have a better understanding of the ED case and what it means politically for the JMM as well as Hemant Soren. So do tune in next time when we are back with another episode.